Hello, and welcome to Paddling Places, Florida. I'm your host, Mr. D. So, hey, let's get this thing in the water. Now, a word from our sponsor.
Advanced Elements is the leader in design and manufacturing of inflatable kayaks with cutting-edge technology and providing excellent customer service. All of their products are designed to give paddlers the tools they need at a value they deserve. Check them out at advancedelements.com or call toll-free at 866-262-9076.
Now, they do provide a cart because, let me tell you, it is a long way to this launch. But, hey, let's get this thing inflated and get it on the water. Okay, this is it. So, build it there, launch it here. Oh, that's a walk and a half. Hello, and welcome to Paddling Places, Florida Adventures. I'm your host, Mr. D. Hey, today we're in Port Richey, Florida, and we are doing the Werner Boyce Salt Springs State Park. And I'll tell you, it's really cool. They only have one kayak launch here, and let me tell you something, it's a football field away from the parking lot, so definitely bring your cart. Salty Dog is the name of the kayak rental facility, if you're interested in that. And I'll get a shot of that before we leave so I can put it up there in case you want to give them a call, make reservations or whatever. Okay? Well, what we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to go on the, what they call the saltwater run, and we're going to go up and go in between this. Actually, it's I never heard of this before, but it's a saltwater spring. Never heard of a saltwater spring, but I'm going to try to go up and find that thing. I don't know where it is, but I'm going to go up and try to find it. And so, hey, let's get this thing in the water. Well, hey guys, we are on, and this is a bunch of little snaky canals and stuff. And the tide is coming in because I'm watching the direction of the flow. So we're really going deep into this to try to find that salt springs. I don't know. And there's really not any good maps that show the layout. So all I can do is kind of just explore. And that's what I'm going to do right now. Coming out of this small finger here, I did look at my GPS and saw this little straight line finger, and it looks like it's going to be blocked, so I'm really not sure, but we're going to have a pretty nice paddle regardless, either way. But remember, when you guys come down here, guys, make sure that you bring a cart, because that footbridge is long. I think I may have found the channel that cuts into the springs. I'm not sure. Anyway, hey, we're going to check it out, and if we find it, we'll be back in a minute. guys, we've been paddling out here for a while. We did find the springs. Whoop-de-doo. It was nothing. It was just a real shallow area that gets fed. I guess the history is that they used to mine the salt out of here and turpentine out of the trees or something. There's a lot of history here. Now, one thing I want to give you a little warning: if you do come out here, guys, watch your tide, because if you're in an inflatable, man, there's about a whole lot of shells and stuff down there that will slice your boat up. So just beware. What I'm doing is I'm going through a lot of these little fingers and coves and stuff like that, and it's really, really cool. It's a nice paddle. I mean, it's not very picturesque. I'm not into mangrove places too much, but it is fun. It's a nice paddle. You can really get crazy if you keep going off to my right. It'll put you right on the Gulf, and you can go out to a bunch of other different areas and stuff like that. So you can make a complete day of this. What I'm doing is just kind of poking around. Fortunately, that, like I said, the tide is coming in, and I'm able to get into some places. I was talking to a local just a few minutes ago. He was launching his kayak fisherman, and he says when it gets low here, I mean, it gets low. So you want to time this to where the tide is in and not out if you're going to use this facility here to launch. And if you want to, whoops, that was some shallow stuff. If you want to launch in deeper water, go out to Brasher Park. But that has 4 different kayak launches and stuff like that. But again, you still have to time the tides. That's the thing about the Gulf and the Atlantic and the oceans and stuff like that. They all have tidal times that you got to mess with. So, but man, I'm liking it. This is nice. We're going to continue our paddle, and if we come across something kind of unique and interesting, we'll drop back in and say hey. Well, guys, we've been all over Salt Run, or Saltwater, or Springs Run, or whatever the heck it's called. It's just a bunch of mangroves. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, it's a good paddle. It's fun, but it wouldn't be on my #1 hit list. You gotta play the tides, and if it gets low, I mean, I bottomed out over at the springs. I did find the springs. Whoopie-doo, that was a whole lot of nothing. But I was expecting springs, but it just basically, you can't even see the movement coming out of there. And also with the tide coming in, it's fighting it. So it's, a weird situation. Anyway, the park itself is pretty nice. I don't really like the really, really long way to launch your kayak. You definitely have to have a cart. There's no question about that. And other than that, it's just a bunch of mangroves, and you paddle out, and you can paddle out to the Gulf. That's basically the bottom line. It's not that I'm being negative about it. It's just nothing exciting about it. Actually, it's kind of boring. There's no such thing as a bad paddle, and this is not a bad paddle. Just be cognizant of the tides, and also if you're an inflatable, understand they got those shells down here, and some of them are in a big bundle just below the water line, and if you hit them, it can slice your kayak up. So keep that in mind. We're going to head our way back to the ramp, and then we'll close this thing out. So hey, we'll be back in a bit. All right, guys, we are going to wrap this thing up. The paddle itself was just okay. I'll be honest with you. Now you can see this is the paddle rack from the Salty Dog, where they have all their PFDs locked up and their rental kayaks right there. And the park itself is actually pretty big, 4,000 acres, and it's cool. It's more geared to hiking than it is to kayaking. However, you can kayak all the way out to the Gulf if you wish. My only real complaint is the length of the launch area. To get to the launch area is quite far. As you can see here in these photos, I'm walking back to my vehicle, and this is real time. So you can see that it's a pretty long walk. So without a cart, you'd be in a bad way. However, the state park does supply a cart for you, and you just take that down there and put it off to the side, go do your paddle, put it back on the cart, and then take it back up. So you'll be all good to go. The road trip this time was pretty good. Again, it was out in Newport Richey, Port Richey, and Bayonet Point were the three places I visited. And the day before that, I did Brasher Park and did Durney Key Island. And that was really, really a lot of fun. But you can see here, there's my car coming in. The trailer right there is Salty Dog Kayak Rentals. And you can make an appointment. I'll put their phone number and stuff up here as you can see it right now. And hey, we're going to wrap this up. So hey, we'll see you on the next one.